Today I'm happy to announce to the country that next year, the Marape Rosso government will invest in 2 more dairy farms in Papua New Guinea. One in Lae and one in the Sepik Plains. In Lae, so that it will service the Highlands region and all their dairy farm requirements and the New Guinea Islands. In Sepik, so that we will supply East and West Sepik and target West Papua in Indonesia. This is not a new industry. We've succeeded in the last 4 years. The question is, why haven't we built some more in the past? Well, the Marape government will start building next year. We're serious. We want to replace all the dairy imports. We want to continue to reduce the cost and replace it. If we have 2 more farms, we will save 300 million kina a year. We will produce 800 new jobs, permanent jobs for Papua New Guineans. All our farmers in the villages will plant corn to come and sell the stock to the farm so that they can feed the cow. We are also going to invest with the private sector in building an instant coffee factory in Lae. Today, Papua New Guinea sells green bean and then imports 50 million kina worth of instant coffee back into the country. The most famous being the 3-in-1. I'm not a coffee drinker, but I see a lot of people drinking the 3-in-1. By next year, I want to see the 3-in-1 produced in Lae. And if that's successful, I want to see more factories. When I say the government investing, I do not mean the government will be 100% shareholder of the investing company. The government will buy shares in a company with a private sector operator to go into downstream processing and import replacement businesses. This is the same as we have been doing in the mining and petroleum sector, where the state takes up equity. We are now rolling this to the agriculture sector. The government could take up to 30% of the equity required to start a business. For example, with a dairy farm, we're talking about 120 million is required. The government could put up 30 million, the rest will come from the private sector. We all know that the private sector in Papua New Guinea is reluctant to invest in agriculture as an industry. There are landowner issues. There are issues with law and order. There's constant power blackout, and those issues make it very difficult for the investors to feel safe to park the investment funds in such what we call high-risk investment. But yet this country has a lot of liquidity. NAS Fund, Number One Super have a lot of money to invest, but they cannot invest unless these investments are de-risked by the government. What do I mean de-risked? The government taking up some share of the risk and the equity itself. So the government will make sure there's a road, there's power lines, there's police, there's security to safeguard also the government investment. I've met with the investors, and the common word they use is de-risk us, make us feel safe to invest. We are ready to invest in agriculture, but the government must de-risk the investment by taking up equity. Like you do in mining and petroleum, why can't you do the same in agriculture? We are responding to that. We are a responsible government. In the budget, which will be handed out by the Treasurer on the 22nd of this month, our government will park funds in what we call state equity funding and also downstream processing funding in the budget to enable us to buy the shares that I'm referring to. So in the development budget to be handed out in the next week, our government will park specific funds for the government to invest in partnership with the private sector in a number of key agriculture projects. The phase 2, like I mentioned, that we are interested in is a dairy farm in Leh and one in Sepik. It will cost 120 million kina each to build. Government will only take up to 30% shareholding. The rest we would like to encourage the private sector to partner the government, come on board and invest in these investments. Now the government fully understands that the private sector will only invest in sound, properly appraised projects which are commercially viable and will generate an attractive return for the private sector shareholders. So the government wants to announce that we have this week engaged a national and very highly reputable accounting firm, KPMG, to undertake an independent appraisal of the 3 phase projects that we want to invest in, which is the 2 dairy farms and the coffee factory in Leh. They will do an appraisal on the investment opportunity, look at the viability, the financial viability of the projects, and if they form an independent opinion that these projects are profitable and viable and one that should be recommended not only to government but to private sector investors, the accounting firm itself will produce what we call a prospectus to invite shareholders to invest in these projects. Like I said, this is the start of a new beginning. And then the investors who would like to invest in the projects can meet with the investor, can meet with the accounting firm, go through the numbers and satisfy themselves that this is a viable investment. It will be profitable, the risk can be looked at, it is a goer, and therefore we are hoping that the private sector will be encouraged to invest in the investments as shareholder partners with the government. The government has an agriculture company called Kumul Agriculture. They will hold the shares in these businesses and partner, our private sector partner. These businesses will be run by our private sector partners who've got the management ability and competence, and they will run it without government influence and interference. The government will only sit in the board of these companies. Apart from these 3 phase projects that our government is looking at, we will, over the next few weeks, also engage accounting firms to appraise a number of other key investments. One is for the processing of cocoa into chocolate and other cocoa byproducts like chocolate powder, and the other will be looking at processing of vanilla. So we can give much higher prices to our farmers, preserve quality, and get much higher prices. We are also going to be, in the coming weeks, look at the possibility of downstream processing all our coconut oil, in particular in Medeng and Rabaul, where they process a lot of coconut oil. We want to produce final products like cooking oil out of coconut, virgin oil, other byproducts from coconut oil. At the moment, the bulk of the coconut oil you see produced in Rabaul and Medeng, in the 2 mills, are sent to the Philippines. It is the Philippines that processes all that into final products and export these coconut byproducts to other markets right around the globe under a Filipino brand. Nobody knows that the oil comes from Papua New Guinea, or somebody does. We want to do away with exporting them oil from Papua New Guinea. What I call crude oil. We are on the lookout for partners who can partner the government to go into downstream processing of all the coconut oil. We don't need to export raw materials anymore. We need to produce final products. There's a huge market out there. Why can't we sell it as PNG made? Why can't we give the higher prices to our own farmers? Can you imagine the day we process the coconut oil here, the price will go up. Who will win? Our farmers will win. Our economy will win. We'll be generating more revenue. So I would like to call on the private sector in Papua New Guinea, in particular the super funds. We've heard you. We're a responsible government. We now want to partner the private sector and go into these investments. The government has done enough talking. We want to see action. You want to see action. The country wants to see action. We are going to make it happen. That's why we are going down this path. Like I said earlier, all investments will be appraised independently. When the private accounting firms are confident the business will work, it's going to be successful, it will generate the returns, only then will we produce a prospectus and invite the private sector to come in and partner the government to invest in all these industries. I'm looking forward to the day that we no longer sell coffee green bean to any country. Everything is processed to final products in PNG. I'm looking forward to the day that there'll be no more coconut oil going to the Philippines. Everything will be processed and Papua New Guinea will export its own coconut products to the world. I'm looking forward to the day when no more cocoa beans are exported. We export nearly 400 million kilo worth of cocoa beans. I'm looking forward to the day that no more cocoa beans will leave our shores. All the cocoa will be processed into chocolate, cocoa powder, cocoa liquor, cocoa drink, and it'll go out as final products under the PNG made label. I'm looking forward to the day when we will produce our own rice and no longer have to import 900 million kilo worth of rice every single year. And by the way, the price of one packet of rice, 1 kilo, in the shops now has gone from 2 kilo to what now? 6 kilo. So who is suffering? Our people. Because no government has succeeded in developing these industries. No government has focused on downstream processing and import replacement. This is a key policy of our Prime Minister, the Marape government. That's one of the reasons why they created this ministry to champion the cause. And I'm happy to announce we are starting with the first tree. We will appraise them, and we look forward to some announcements in the new year when we're ready to start these investments. We have the fund to pay our, buy into the businesses with the private sector, and we're hoping to make some major announcements in the new year that we found a partner. And we are building 2 more dairy farms, and we're going to build an instant coffee factory in Leh, and hopefully in the middle of next year, the 3-in-1 will be from Papua New Guinea, from Marape, and not from anywhere else. So the Marape government is serious about import replacement. We are very serious about downstream processing. And today is the start of this announcement, and I look forward to major announcements next year when we start the first 3 projects.